In Frank Herbert's Dune, the Bene Gesserit Order is a powerful, all-female organization known for its deep political involvement. HBO's Dune prophecy will focus on the Bene Gesserit's origin. So let's break it all down in 5 minutes. The Bene Gesserits emerged after the Butlerian Jihad, which led to the prohibition of computers and encouraged groups like the Bene Gesserits to cultivate advanced human abilities to replace the role of machines. Due to their enhanced mental abilities and rigorous training, the Bene Gesserits quickly emerged as influential players. Their skills helped the Sisterhood to manipulate political events from the shadows. These skills include the ability to influence others using the voice. They have heightened perception skills, enabling them to identify lies and emotional deceit. And most importantly, they have complete control over their bodies, including their reproductive system, so much so that Bene Gesserits can choose the sex of their fetus. That's important because their primary goal is to guide and elevate humanity through a long-term secretive breeding program designed to produce the Kwisatz Haderach, a male prophet with extraordinary abilities capable of transcending space and time. If they succeed, they could control him, granting the Sisterhood even more power and influence. To achieve this, the Bene Gesserits operate from behind the scenes, influencing imperial politics by placing sisters in noble courts and exploiting the genetics of high-profile, powerful men for their breeding program. They effectively decide how members of great houses reproduce and with whom, based on the genetics they want to incorporate into their breeding program. This grants them immense power to influence the line of succession of the most powerful players in the known universe. However, their plans faced a critical setback during the events of Dune. After centuries of operating their breeding program, the Bene Gesserits planned to join a Harkonnen son to an Atreides daughter, expecting their offspring to produce the long-awaited Kwisatz Haderach. But instead of bearing a daughter, Sister Jessica disobeyed the Sisterhood and gave birth to a son to please her concubine Duke Leto Atreides. Despite early doubts about his true identity, Paul Atreides was eventually considered to be the Kwisatz Haderach. The Bene Gesserits expected Paul to be powerful, but they could not have predicted how far beyond their control he would grow. When Paul became emperor and took Chani, a Fremen woman, for concubine, he introduced unpredictable genetics, severely disrupting centuries of careful planning by the Bene Gesserits. Paul's rise as emperor undermined the Bene Gesserit's power. This benefited rival factions, including the Bene Tleilax, who used genetic engineering to manipulate human potential. And much later, the Bene Gesserit's influence was further challenged by a new faction known as the Honored Matres. They use sexuality to dominate men and are more inclined to rely on a military approach, which stands in stark contrast to Bene Gesserit's long-term strategies and reliance on covert influence. However, despite all the challenges to their influence, the Bene Gesserits never disappeared. Instead, they adapt and evolve. So far, we have discussed Frank Herbert's original idea for the Bene Gesserits. HBO's upcoming series Dune Prophecy is set 10,000 years before the events of Frank Herbert's Dune. It will explore the origins of the Bene Gesserit's order, but it's not based on any of Frank Herbert's original work. Instead, it's based on a novel by Brian Herbert, Frank's son. Brian's Dune novels are controversial in the fandom. Brian Herbert and his co-writer Kevin J. Anderson claim that they based their new books on notes left behind by Frank Herbert, but some fans are skeptical of this claim because of their different style, changes in tone, and perceived deviation from Frank Herbert's themes and philosophy. At this point, Brian Herbert wrote 15 Dune books. Brian's books include sequels and prequels to the original 6 Dune novels. HBO's Dune Prophecy is based on Sisterhood of Dune, which was published in 2012, 26 years after Frank Herbert's death. It tells the story of the BENE GESSERIT Sisterhood as they work to expand their knowledge of human abilities, laying the foundation for their future breeding program and unique capabilities. The HBO series features Emily Watson and Olivia Williams. I plan to cover this series on my channel, so subscribe for that and more Dune content, and click the like button to support the channel. It helps a lot. Thanks.